All right. On behalf of the chairman and the vice chairman, I'll call this meeting to order. August 22nd Parks Board meeting. Mr. Head, do you mind?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lay ball. Do we have any citizen comments?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, so we'll pass on that. I take it everybody's had a opportunity to review the minutes. Any questions? Okay. Got a first, second, Mr. Head. All those in favor? Opposed? And okay, old business. Mr. Gilly.
Thank you, sir. We're still putting the finishing touches on the Memorial Park fountain, waiting on some caps to come in. But that whole area looks great when you look at all the improvements that have been done in that front part of Memorial Park. Also, in case you're asked, the fountain has not been working because of a lightning strike. We're waiting on the replacement of the transformer before we can get the Memorial Park fountain working properly. We will be going out to bid for roof replacements and hopefully in September for all the shelters at Sanders Ferry Park. That's a big improvement that needs to be made there, along with some other things we'll try there. The Board of Mayor and Aldermen approved us to apply for a Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthy Place grant that we will turn in at the end of this month. We are also applying to become designated as a pet-friendly city with Mars Incorporated, which I believe in our area only Franklin and Brentwood are at this point. That will help us down the road with grants for dog park issues. The rugby restroom project continues to move forward. Public Works is working on that. We're about through with the design phase. I think we have to get staff level approval from the planning staff at this point, and then we hopefully will see movement on that construction-wise soon. And then we have begun meetings with the LPRF grant that we received for the turf soccer field, Field 4, and the rugby lights. We had our first big meeting on that last week. We have another one this week, and have some steps we have to take on our end to get a contract signed and move forward on that. If anybody has any questions, I will take them.
All right. Bike pump track. It's Mr. Harden. You guys go ahead and hit that button up, make you official. Excellent, thank you.
Lady and gentlemen, hey, thank you guys for having us up here, and thank you for what you do for the city of Hendersonville and the parks here in town. I moved here in '74 maybe, and on Wessington, and have had the benefit of your work and effort by playing ball on the ball fields at Memorial Park and in Drake Street Park, playing basketball in the gyms at Nanny Berry and around. So, and also got to use the BMX track when it was here in its day. So I got to ride that BMX track a lot and really enjoyed that. So I'm grateful to the city of Hendersonville 100%. It's my home. You may not know, you may know that I have the bike shop here in town. I live in Savannah, and then I also have the bike shop in town on the other side of town. And I can frequently ride to work pretty easy. It takes me about 30 minutes to ride my bike from Savannah to the bike shop. And as of late, I've stopped by the Warrior Trail and ridden the Warrior Trail on the way to work. I've stopped by the Betty Farm, ridden the new trail we're building over there and on the way to work. And I've ridden out the Walton Ferry on Lakeside to visit my family for breakfast on my way to work. So it's a bikeable town if you know your ways to wiggle around the town. So it's pretty fun. So I've lived here all my life, and true story, just about the Wessington Street there. When I lived on the corner of Keystone and Wessington, We rode our bikes to school, and they had just built Witton Elementary, and we had Honda Hills under the power lines. We had like a motocross track, little area up here underneath the power lines where they pushed the dirt up. So biking's been really special to me here in town for a long time, and I am very grateful. So to tell you a quick story about a couple weekends ago, I had my nephew from my brother. He had just graduated from Georgia Tech with an MS in electrical engineering, worked his tail off to get this in, and he came in town to visit. And I took him, decided to give him some money, of course, but then take him for a bike ride. So we met at Five Guys, and we rode down to the Warrior Trail, rode a loop around the Warrior Trail. We rode over to the skate park, and the fence is down, so we hit a couple jumps cautiously hit a couple jumps at the skate park, and then we rode over a cool little bridge under the greenway behind the apartments, and then rode around the soccer fields, rode up around the soccer fields, came back, and then got back to Five Guys, rode over to First Watch, had breakfast. My wife came up and had breakfast. It was just like the perfect morning, and it was a perfect use of the greenway, of what we can do with the greenway. Now, the greenway, 20 years ago, 1999, I think 98, Mayor Hank Thompson asked me to chair a committee for him for the greenway routes around Hendersonville, and I helped do that in 98. And what you see with your bridges over the creek and underneath the train track and all of that was that plan that we put in. The Veterans Park area was an extension of the Greenway, and it was a big part of it. And it's nice to see that bridge get put in and the extension. And we hopefully, in that plan, there is a plan to continue the Greenway underneath the bypass all the way over to Durham Farms. So that's a continuation of the Greenway. So when I think about the Greenway and this pump track idea that these guys have, which I'll talk about in a sec, when I think about that, the 3 mile radius in Greenway world is what we're after. Anything within 3 mile radius, everybody can walk or ride to. You can walk or ride to it, and really, you want to go by bike, not by car. We don't want cars involved in city transportation. The whole goal behind a Greenway is to not have cars involved at all. I would love to see the softball players riding their bikes to softball practice. If they could get there, I would love to see that. Moms and dads, ride your bikes over there. Riding your bike to the ball field is a great idea. And I want to encourage that. And that was the purpose behind the Greenway is you take traffic generators and you find alternative ways to get them there other than just by car. And it can help alleviate traffic inside of these parks. I think it's a missing, element in our city's big picture to encourage people to go by bike. It's very common in a lot of other cities, and I think it's the future of mass when we have more density in our neighborhoods, in our communities. So that being said, after reviewing all the lots, all the park property, I know every piece of park property in town. I've lived here all my life. It is the right area and it's the right spot for that 3 mile radius destination. It's the center, it's the hub. It's a great marketing tool for our Greenway to get people to use it to ride their bikes to the park. It's a fantastic marketing tool for the Greenway itself. It's not going to be like the old BMX track. The BMX track was awesome. I'm super grateful that Mr. Dobbs put that together and his crew. They did a great job. However, it was a big maintenance nightmare. It was a massive maintenance. Had 20-foot high berms that had to be weed eated, that were 60 yards around. You had water drainage issues, big mud puddles. You had ruts running down all the berms, ruts running up our jumps. The pump track is the evolution of the BMX track. It's the downsized version, the city-compatible version of a BMX track. Without the racing and the organization, all that hassle that goes on with state titles and state plates and racing and licensing and all that stuff. It's a downsized version of a BMX track. Super fun, but it's also what's really cool when we pave it and again the trying to prevent the ruts and the rock. We put a rock base underneath it, so there's a huge rock base underneath the asphalt so that you don't have the maintenance issues that we had with the BMX track. So with it being downsized like that and small, it's pretty low maintenance, and I do think it's a good fit, and I think this is a good location. It's not going to attract. It's not a huge traffic generator. I mean, there's people can go ride Lock 4. They can go. There's other places that people will go to ride bikes. This isn't going to be a huge traffic generator. I don't think it's going to generate any more traffic than anything else you would put in that area. I hear you talking about putting flag football in or something. Well, those are going to create traffic nightmares too.
Okay, so the ask.
The ask.
Yes, you're asking for.
Permission to put a pump track right next to the skate park.
Okay.
Right, the extension of the skate park.
Okay.
That is our ask. And
Yes.
Sorry.
No.
Thank you for your time.
You thank. Mr. Gilly, you guys looked into this. What are your thoughts?
This was before you all earlier at the same location. We have met with this group no less than 5 times, I think.
We've scoured.
In various areas of the city. There are challenges anywhere you put it. I think it's up to this board to determine if this is the appropriate feature for this park, based on what's in place and what could be in place.
And
I think you're making a recommendation.
Smart.
No matter what happens from there, I think this will probably go at their request, probably through the mayor to Public Works and then on to BOMA, from them to vote on it. The reason why that's important is because even though they're going to build it and fund it, it becomes ours. Even though maintenance is, there's things in the presentation that talk about ongoing maintenance. They may all move tomorrow. We may all move tomorrow. So it has to be something that we can all agree on. Like I said, I told these guys when we met and they came back and they said they want to bring this back in the same spot. I said, you need to kind of explain what's different, but y'all didn't vote the last time. Basically, you kind of got a feeling for where it was headed, and we just said, let's just come back.
Yeah, we kind of deferred it a bit.
Right.
A few things that I had in mind that are different this time is we're trying to brainstorm ways to be good neighbors if this is where we wind up. So if we can flip a couple slides up to where it shows the potential rendering of the first rendering that we ever got of the pump track. It showed it being right next to the skate park and kind of in that front area, right? One back. But what we've talked about is if you rotate this 90 degrees, like you're rotating a picture on your phone, and push it up into the corner more towards the bypass, still giving a little bit of buffer room by the houses over there, would that get us out of that area where people are still parking? That would probably push us up out of the way of anybody that wants to park in the grass for those couple extra rows that we've been told have been used on busy days for Veterans Park. And another thing I thought of is one thing the mountain bike community does in Nashville is we have a big group, and we plan to do this for kind of Hendersonville bike trails, Greenway, Warrior Trail, Pump Track. Use Facebook to communicate to each other. Hey, there's a big tournament going on this weekend at Veterans Park. Let's either avoid it this weekend or let's go find alternate spots to park. Whether we start on another part of the Greenway, ride our bikes in. It's a longer ride to get there. We have shorter amount of time, but we still get to enjoy the pump track. So between the last meeting and now, we've been trying to think of ways to make this work, to be good potential neighbors to the baseball teams. When I was a kid, I was sitting at baseball fields watching my brother who did what was AAU baseball, which is now thought of as travel ball. But I was sitting at baseball fields watching doubleheaders, 100-degree weather in Florida, traveling to North Carolina for our family vacations. And if something like this would have been at a park, I would have been all over it all day long. I would have been entertained, and I would have been a kid that would have benefited from this. So those are some of the things that we've thought about since the last meeting.
I have a question. Do you all have a group already formed or a board or organization formed to volunteers to take care of what you have in here when you said that possible volunteer days? Do you already have people on board for that?
We'd be the start of that group. I volunteer at the local mountain bike trails. Me and Matt have volunteered at the BMX track together when they've had work parties. Starting that Facebook group would start a community that is going to look after this, when it needs to be resealed 5 years down the road based on the maintenance plan. We would be the group raising money to reseal it. So we would be here supporting that, and we would form a group around it.
Sorry, can you, and sorry if everybody else gets this and I don't, that picture that was just up, this one, the gray, I'm sorry, can you explain what I'm looking at here? I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand it.
The larger section to the left that's gray is going to be, it's a potential view of how the pump track could be laid out. The turns are going to be elevated berms, 4 or 5 feet tall. There will be rollers and jumps in the middle of those. It's all asphalt. So the lines that you see there are the outlines of where a track would meander kind of, back and forth. And then on the right-hand side, the dark black one, the X's in there are trees right next to the skate park. That would have been a smaller track for the younger ages, for the kids that are on balance bikes or just first getting on a pedal bike. So there would be kind of an adult track and a younger track for kids. So we could kind of separate speed and traffic a little bit. But that's just a potential idea of what the layout of a pump track would look from the top. A couple slides up in the presentation, there's some pictures of both Watkins pump track and then another pump track. I'm not sure the location, but you can kind of see there what they look like, what the layout is from a kind of helicopter kind of view.
Any other thoughts, questions?
I think last time you guys came in here, one of my biggest questions was the parking area. I know you touched base on let's not have cars around here, but realistically to get to veterans, you got the ball fields, you got Mary's, and we had, my issue was parking. It looks like that is addressed now in this new request. Can you touch base on that parking, or how many parking spots you guys are going to look at if that's been explored?
Our best comparison is Watkins Park, and you've been down there as well on the weekends, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, quite a bit.
Would you say 5 to 10 cars?
I mean, it's really not that busy.
Yeah.
The main thing to understand is, like, initially, I think that they were you guys had thought that we're going to use this for events, and it's not going to be set up for that. It's just going to be for private use, people to go out there and enjoy. It's not going to be set up as like a tournament, if you will. So the parking and the amount of people that are there is going to be very low, at least on a normal day. And of course, like anything, it's going to be used more so after school hours or on the weekends. And I'm sure if the community that starts going there pays attention to the schedule for, softball and such, they're not going to be there during tournaments, because they know better. It's just going to cause congestion for everybody. So.
One thing to note too, and you could tell your people, just say we put up all of our events, any of our tournaments. Mm-hmm. We display that on our website too. Yeah. So that's something you could always share with the families too.
Absolutely.
Because it says on there where the event's at. So if it says Game 7, baseball tournament at Veterans, you'll be able to see that on our website.
Makes sense.
Mr. Gilley, does the land use plan for the parks, does this project conflict with stuff that we've passed before or recommended?
There's nothing scheduled for that area at this point.
Okay.
We had looked at putting an outdoor fitness court there, but never really were able to get the funding in place for that.
All right.
So
I think it's it could be a really nice ad for the community. I'm going to look for a motion now, one way or the other.
I have a couple questions
Yes, sir.
before you do
Yep.
that. As this goes on to Public Works and to BOMA, we'll have to have some sort of resolution designating this spot. The mayor's here, so please correct me if I'm say something wrong. But we will have to probably get a resolution designating this. I think it'll be important to know who we're designating will be the people building it. Like, is it the Rotary Club? Is it some kind of other 501c3 where people are going to be donating their money and then who's paying the bills at that point. And then when it comes to in your packet, the agreement to reseal it in 5 years, I think that would be important to have in the agreement also. Do y'all want to address that now or later, or we can address that later? They're making a recommendation on the location, not details, I think. Go ahead.
As of right now, we are working with the Rotary to handle the transaction. We'll work with them to put them as, since the money is going to be coming through them, I'll figure out if that's where we want to go. Is with the Rotary. I don't think that'll be a problem, Jamie. I don't think that'll be a problem. Most everybody that I've talked to at the Rotary has been on board, so I feel pretty comfortable that we'll be able to put the Rotary up as the holder.
So that's the way Mary's place was built, was through the Rotary Club paying all the bills. So very similar process. And I would say going from here, we would probably take this to Public Works at the end of September. And however the mayor wants to do it is in terms of going straight to BOMA that night or 2 more weeks after that, I would think. We'll just have to cross that bridge. But I'm just trying to give you an idea of a timeline.
Oh, thank you.
It's not going to happen tomorrow. They don't have a meeting tomorrow.
We got a long ways to go.
It's definitely not happening tomorrow. That was my question.
And this is for recommendation to,
Recommendation to send this to Public Works.
all right, so we've got a motion. We have a second. Mr. Head? Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Well, I had a
I'm sorry.
question.
You're-
Sorry.
Yes, you're correct.
Yep. There's these change.org 600 signatures, and I'm not sure what is this map telling me?
I tried to take the data from change.org, put it onto a map, and show where the signatures came from. I think around 350 of those came from our immediate area. Some of the change.org is a big website, so if it gets out there, people are going to see it and click on it. But there were some from Knoxville, some from other areas. So
And this was specifically about a pump track in Hendersonville, pump track
correct.
at
Yeah,
this park.
Dustin put that together. If you want to talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
And Dustin, I didn't
If
even
you got
meet
any
Dustin
questions
before
about
came
it,
together.
sure.
Thank you.
Just how it came.
So you're
together.
just asking about how it come together?
Well, no,
What
just what,
specific word?
it just says signatures.
Okay.
What
Well, I
was
mean,
what was the thing
It was
they were
just
signing?
a focus on trying to get a pump track built here in Hendersonville, and of course trying to get people's opinions and thoughts, and just seeing, because a lot of people don't even understand what a pump track is. It's not super common everywhere, and so that's another reason why I put up videos and some pictures on there as well, just to kind of show people. But yeah, we started that petition trying to get as many people as we could aware and involved, and possibly to help out in the future with it. So
And Andy, sorry for the question. So the parking that is being sort of highlighted here on page 10, that's currently a part of the park as it sits right now. I mean, it says it's available. Help me understand that. 'Cause I've never seen anybody
That was
really
just
park
a-
over there,
that was
even
just
on the
an-
busiest of days.
That was an
but-
idea that was, I think, briefly discussed in one of our meetings to try to
Allow
take some of the
space.
pressure
Right.
off or allow some more space. So
Just land specifically available. These are just grass fields. We're
That
not
is-
talking about paving this. This is just.
That is park-owned land that we use for overflow parking at times already. That you see where they've got highlighted 2 parking lots. Did y'all put the cars on the picture, or is this a real picture? That's what I
the
thought. So you
Google
can,
satellite image.
I mean, you can see where cars park everywhere on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah, I flipped through some.
'Cause those are
historical
all-
Google satellite images today.
All those cars are in the grass
hmm
that you see.
I saw a satellite image from years ago, but it showed, I counted the spaces in the main parking lot of Veterans Park, and there were over, and that's what I put the bullet point on there that says we're fighting human nature to some extent. I counted almost 30 or 40 spots in the main parking lot where the roller hockey rink is and the bathroom is, and there were still people lined up in the grass all the way out. So, and I know there's some traffic in and out when you have people moving, in and out of games and stuff, but nonetheless, there were tons of spots and still tons of people parked in the grass.
Do y'all usually use one row of parking, Or do y'all go 2 deep or 3 deep? Do y'all get much into the field?
Just
On
that
a
one
ball,
row.
if it's ball games going on, it's just one row.
It's just one row?
If there's special events where we've actually hired people or we've got groups managing the parking, then they'll park them.
Yeah,
however they
it's
need
a
to.
thought. You could even
So
just put parking spaces there. Just put add a stripe of pavement and just make parking spaces right there.
sounds like something great for y'all to pay for.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Yes, actually, I'm so sorry. Keep it, the location where the inline hockey rinks used to be. What is to become of that? Is there any risk that if another thing goes in there, that again, we're just adding to the problem of parking?
Yeah, I think that's in a floodway, so I believe we're gonna have a real hard time constructing any kind of structure there.
That is scheduled to be a berm around the playground and grass athletic fields to be used for grass sports.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you guys.
Y'all have a good evening.
All right, pump track. Leadership Academy. Is Hal here?
believe they're on Zoom.
Ah, excellent.
Oh, they're there. There it is.
Hello.
Hi.
Let me
Floor.
give
Hi, thank you
me
so
give
much
y'all
for the
some,
opportunity to share a little bit about how this summer went. Is this all working okay? I just
Yes,
want
we
to check
can.
in. Okay, great. So thank you again for the approval to have a little pilot day camp this summer to connect children with nature at Sanders Ferry Park. My company, Leadership Academy, really believes in the power of connecting to nature, that it increases children's confidence and creativity, their social intelligence and grit. And we were really excited to get the opportunity to connect 21 campers to the park through our nature program this summer over at Sanders Ferry. I'm not sure if you can see the slides there or if I share them on my side.
Yeah, we don't have slides to see.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I can just tell you a little bit about it. I have them here to, can I share? I don't know if that's something I can do. Does it work on this?
Yep, we can see those.
Great. So this is our camp director we had this summer. His name is Matt Tremblay. He also coaches tennis for Hendersonville Park. So he's a high school teacher locally in Hendersonville. And he was our camp director on site each day this summer. And has been an employee for Leadership Academy several times, a past counselor, and really understands the power of connecting kids to nature. We had a really great camp counselor who you can see was a lot of fun and the kids really enjoyed. His camp name was Krakatoa, and he and Matt were at camp every day with the kids this summer. We are really proud of some of these successes in our pilot season. First of those being our relationship with Parks. Things went really well. Parks is supportive to our program and have been great to work with. We got the word out about camp to our own customers that we've had in the past, as well as to lots of other family members through the Facebook and Parks helping to share that. And the park was a great use for this Nature Day camp. We wanted to share a little bit about what we did at camp. So we played some games out and about at the park. We have brought our own equipment and things to play with. We definitely spent a lot of time exploring in nature. We have got to know the little woods area by Pavilion 5, as well as a roundabout in the park. Know those areas really well and built some amazing forts this summer, all of which have been returned back to nature because we do practice leave no trace principles. We played some field games, kickball. We had can jam. We had played the beanbag game over at Pavilion 2. Or Pavilion 7, I mean, and you played tag games. The kids had a lot of fun with that. and we spent some time doing water exploration. This was looking off the docks, seeing the fish, exploring around the shoreline, looking at the shells and mussels that are washing up onto the shore, and just getting to learn a little bit about the aquatic habitat of Old Hickory Lake. And did lots of crafts this summer at camp. The kids we had two groups of very artistic kids who wanted to spend a lot of time drawing and creating crafts. So we did several crafts. And we got to use the shelters for some cookout, little hot dogs over the grill, and some s'mores, which are a popular hit at summer camp. As I mentioned, we had 21 campers this summer. It's a very small group for us. We had 5 kids only our first week and 16 for the second week. We did a scholarship program for diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as low-income families. We had 7 campers attend on scholarship this summer. There was some challenges, of course. We did get a late start. As you remember, we were at the May board meeting to get approval to do this. In my experience with the other camps I run in Nashville, families are deciding about summer camp as early as November, and many families already have their summer camp plans done by the end of March. So we were in a little bit of a late start to that. And because of that, that resulted in low enrollment. It's also typical in the first season of camp to have low enrollment. Parents are learning about the program. They want to, see what other families think about it. It takes a few years to build that up. Our activity choices at the park, we think that we could do more intentional nature activities. So maybe less of the drawing and field games and a little bit more nature exploring. And the kids really wanted to do water activities, to be surrounded by the water every day, but not go swimming. As you can see, these girls enjoying putting their feet in to cool off. So that was some of our challenges, because every day they'd be like, oh, we want to go swimming, and we don't go swimming. But we are really excited to run this program again in 2023. And I know it seems like a long ways off for summer, but getting camp going for registration in the fall is a really important part of the success of the program. We're proposing to run 7 sessions next summer. These are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and doing 4 sessions in June. That's June 5th through 30th. And doing July 10th through 28th, doing 3 sessions in July. Although we could potentially take up to 40 kids per week, we're planning to limit our enrollment to 24 campers per week so that we can have an even number of kids throughout the summer to be able to provide gainful employment to a whole core set of people who will work at camp throughout the summer. And our goal is to open registration this fall. So I guess I'm here to ask for that approval, as well as just to say thank you to the board for the opportunity, and especially thank you to the staff who made it possible in their cooperation and just answering questions and being so helpful and kind. And to Mayor Clary for reaching out and helping get more kids outside and connected to nature.
Great. All right, thank you. Mr. Gilley, did you guys get any feedback from this program?
We had a great meeting with them, a wrap-up meeting with the mayor and Jesse also, the COO. I'll let maintenance speak on this. I don't think there were any issues on our end at all in terms of scheduling. The dates we have looked at that she has listed here in your packet. Who knows what could come up between now and then. I think they would agree that if something comes up where we've got an event in the park or that we need to make alternate plans, as long as we give them a heads up, they'll be agreeable to that. But I think I've said this multiple times, they're providing a camp in our city that nobody else really is providing at this point, that we can't provide as a staff ourselves. So I think it's a good thing. I don't know if anybody else on our side wants to chime in or not.
I just want to know, what is your ratio of counselors to campers?
That's a great question. We follow the guidelines that the American Camp Association lays out as accreditation standards. Although this particular camp is not accredited yet, I have multiple other camps that are accredited. So those range in variation from age, but basically for campers ages 6 or younger, or ages 6 to 4, it's a 1 to 6 ratio. For ages 7 and 8, it's a 1 to 8 ratio, and ages 9 to 10 is a 1 to 10 ratio. That's what the standards are. We were obviously at a much higher ratio than that. We had a third counselor, Violet, who was there on the second week. So we had our 3 staff members and 15 kids. We were doing a 1 to 5 ratio.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve that.
We have a first and a second. Any other discussion? Mr. Bennett.
Basically, your motion is to approve the expanded program with the dates requested in the
Yes, sir.
application. Yes, sir. Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations. Look
Thank
forward to
you so
seeing next
much.
summer.
Have a great evening.
And make sure you guys keep in touch with the staff.
Will do, for
Right.
sure. Thank you.
All right, new business. Is this Mr. Levenberg?
Yes. How are you?
Great. Floor is yours.
All right. Well, my first time doing this, so just kind of based off what other people have been talking about. So let me know if I'm going astray here. But I run a lacrosse company called Bearpaw Lacrosse.
I'm sorry, can
for the
you
last-
increase the volume or scoot a little bit closer?
Let's see. Can you hear me better now?
That is better.
All right, I'm just gonna move the whole monitor. Okay, so it's called Bearpaw Lacrosse Events, and started doing a box lacrosse tournament down there. Well, we didn't run it last year because of COVID, but the last 2 years, that's been going on for 2 years. Been talking to JR about the new facility since kind of when it was still a dream, and that's kind of why I'm here today. It's looking to expand our event, move it into there. And offer just something a little bit nicer for our existing teams. Right now, we've been using the rink down in Laverne, which has been great, but we've kind of outgrown it. So, and this is, what I was telling everybody, because it's box lacrosse. So box lacrosse is what all the Canadians, you guys are a big hockey town. This is what like Wayne Gretzky grew up playing this form of lacrosse. There's outdoor lacrosse, like field, and there's box lacrosse, which are played in hockey rinks without the ice. So it's really popular. We get a lot of people. I mean, we have one local team out of Nashville that brings a team, but everybody else is out of town or even out of the country. Right now we've got 3 teams from Canada all ready to come. So it's been a big draw. We get players literally come from all over North America. The teams come from as far away. This last year it was, 2 years ago we didn't run it. But last year we had them from New Jersey to New York to Colorado. And one of the things I've learned is, I run good events, but Nashville is a huge draw. So we're just looking to, move the event there at the outdoor rink. And I don't know if you have any questions for me. Really, my first time doing something like this. So
I've got a
I'm
question.
aboard as far as it goes.
I've got
Yes,
a
sir.
question for, and I see are you gonna sell alcohol at this event? Possibly. That's, can you give me some insight on this?
Yeah. So I did briefly speak with Wade. I was looking into it. So there's a local guy there who's a partner in a brewery. So I was going to talk to them. I wasn't going to sell alcohol, but if it's something we could do, we would use somebody local and obviously do all the permits. I found with my existing events, whether it be parents or adults, they definitely like to drink, and be responsible. But we just talked to Wade, like I said, I think it was last Thursday or Friday. And, so that's something I want to explore, but I do not have a vendor right now.
And what are the age groups of the participants?
So this will be, the ones I normally run are like 5th grade boys up through adults. This one is just going to be adults and high school. Just kind of see how it goes once we expand it. So the plan is to have 1 or 2 high school divisions, like an A and a B level, and then have the adults, and then same thing with them, have an A and a B level.
Mr. Gilly?
And each team is about, teams are about 15 to 18 players, and then you got your coaches and, friends and family.
Yes, sir.
I know that they have. I know you've checked all the boxes on here, and you've been in touch with Dave Gillum with the Hendersonville Inline Hockey, working on a partnership with them to share the revenue that they would invest back in the facility. So it's not listed on here, HIHA, but I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've agreed with them to make a donation back from your revenue.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I run this. This is a for-profit business, and I've grown this game a long time for the love of the game, but I also realize everyone needs to make something to run their program. So yeah, I have no problem with that. The facilities I run, I don't really know what's appropriate, but I pay everything from $50 an hour to $260 an hour for some of these facilities. So, and if it runs, I'm more than happy to give a bigger donation. The more money I make, the more money you guys can get as however you want to phrase it.
The alcohol portion, this board has not really been amicable, or hadn't really been asked to approve alcohol at events that involve youth. I would consider high school still youth. We have had alcohol at events that are adult hockey tournaments or adult rugby. So I don't know how they'll feel about that component
let me know.
of your plan. I don't get a vote. I'm just letting you know if that goes a certain way, don't be offended.
Not at all. I originally wanted to do this just as adults.
There's some cities in some states where it's commonplace. It has not been commonplace here yet.
Right.
I know you. I think you were one of the people when we were building the facility that through J.R. Ernst helped us with letters of support. So I appreciate that from your organization also.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, I originally was going to do this just as an adult event, but with the two, I call them pads, the 2 rinks there, I was like, I want to make sure it goes off well. So I was kind of later on like, you know what, I'm going to open this up to high school kids as well. But ultimately, my end goal, to be very honest, I'd love for this thing to explode and do this over 2 different weekends in the future. But have an adult weekend and a youth weekend. But for right now, I want to keep it simple. And if alcohol's not if it's not going to work, it's no big deal on my end.
Any other questions? There are no questions. Yes, sir.
Just want to confirm, on the times, on Saturday was like 11 o'clock. Is that pretty much set when you would think you would finish on Friday and Saturday?
No, I'd like to finish because I'm I know people are coming, like I said, they're coming to Nashville. They want to see Nashville. So I would like to, if everything worked out in a perfect world, I would actually have the adults play a little earlier and have the kids play later. But try to get everybody out of there by 9 or 10 o'clock p.m. Start around 9 a.m. Even with 23 teams, it's a full weekend. I don't plan on letting that many in this year.
Okay, you're not taking unlimited signups. You're actually limiting the number of teams based on the time somewhat.
Yeah, because I want them. Again, I don't want to come to Nashville and not be able to enjoy Nashville. So
okay,
I don't want to be that guy. Let someone else do that. But yeah. I mean, some of my existing events will run till 11, 12 o'clock at night. We'll start at 7 in the morning. I do not plan on doing that. So I'd like to go, a couple games on Friday night, and then Saturday, say, start at like 9 and then be done by 9. And then Sunday, like 9 until about 3 o'clock.
Anybody else?
How do we address the alcohol and youth event in terms of a motion when that's sort of ambiguous, I guess, at this point?
How do you want to address it? Approve it or not? What are you asking?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's unclear whether they're going to have it, yes or no. So there's that part of it. Of obviously, we have done that in the past where we say, it's a motion to approve contingent on approval from beer board. But there seems to be another aspect of, does this board want to approve it if it's going to include anyone younger than 18, I suppose.
21.
So I think basically your motion, if I'm hearing you right, you're asking, you would make a motion to approve the event with no alcohol sales if the event includes divisions that are under adult.
Under 18.
If the event includes non-adult divisions such as youth, which we would consider 18 and under, you do not want to have alcohol. And even if it did include, even if he decides to have just an adult event, they would have to come up with a site plan and it would come back before you anyway.
What is the concern if we have alcohol served at an event where youth are going to be present? Because we already have celebrations in the city where youth are present and we sell alcohol. So I'm just asking, what is the concern?
Certainly, again, I just feel like it's a continual slippery slope. It's just, it seems to me that that's something that we haven't done before. Whether I personally am against it, I don't know. I don't know. It was simply a question to the board. I wasn't saying that I personally am against that. I was asking how do we handle this in terms of a motion?
Right.
It seems like there was multiple if-thans. Okay.
I think one of the issues is that when you're playing a sport and you have alcohol served when you have youth around, parents who are watching it could be a little bit more inclined to get, a little bit more excited, so to speak. So I think for youth events, it would be good maybe to par back on it. But for the adult events, I'm fine as long as it has a site plan and they have, everything monitored the way it needs to be. So.
I think that was well stated. Ms. Levenberg, feels like the temperature of the board is going to be one to not like alcohol here. Is that going to be an issue for you?
No, not at all. Like I said, they'll be fine with it. I don't make that a centerpiece anyways, and I don't really deal with it. If the facilities sell them, I know they like the revenue, but no, it's not like I was saying earlier, it's not a deal breaker by any means.
Well, we'll see what happens here. We'll accept a motion.
I'll make a motion contingent on the fact that alcohol is not sold if youth are included in the event.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Congratulations.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate everyone's time. Looking forward to it.
Hendersonville Titans Night. Amber Roth, Chris Gannon, Jim.
They're on Zoom.
All right. Hello.
Hi,
State your name, please.
Amber Ross. Chris is not available tonight, but I'm here.
Okay. What can we do for you?
So the Titan football program, the Hendersonville Titans would like to do a family movie night in the park. So this would consist of players and their families. It'd be a closed event just for the league itself as type of a fundraiser. Basically, we get all the families together, show a movie on the field, lawn chairs, bring a blanket, and just enjoy kind of a launch of the tackle season and just bring everybody together as one.
Sounds fun.
Just so you're aware, this is actually going to be on the football field and not the baseball field. They have decided to
Correct.
be on the football field.
Any other staff issues?
Amber, I talked to Chris on Friday about this. Just want to make you aware. In your application, you asked for a movie projector. Just want to make sure you're aware that we do not have a movie projector. So that would be something that you all would have to rent.
That's fine.
Okay. The other thing I think Chris was working on, or maybe it's you, working on getting getting the rights to play the movie. Do you have an update on that? I think he was working on that today.
He submitted that request. They said they should hear something tomorrow.
What movie is it?
It really depends on, I guess, the licensing and how quick we can get it in that process. We've tossed around a few other like football related movies, the Minion movie, something, family oriented. We prefer to do a movie such as like Radio, something that has a football base, but educational and family kind of atmosphere. But it really all depends on licensing options.
And the other question I had when we talked to Chris on Friday, he said this was going to be something y'all were going to make open to the public to help you all raise money. So I think you just said it was Civitan families only. I just want to make sure that before we start, I don't want to advertise it on our parks page if it's just going to be Civitan families only. So
My plan was just to do Civitan families only. Of course, we would charge, just a flat rate fee, have popcorn, drinks. We've also kind of tossed around the idea of possible food trucks in the area just for that night. Of course, that they have the licensing through you guys already and the permit. It really all depends, opening up to the public. With all the events going on and parking and, games and practice schedules and all the things, I think it would be a lot easier to do it just within the league itself. Or just Civitan in general. I mean, we could go as far as to, include flag football or even baseball. I know there's a lot of things going on those fields right now too. But just mainly kind of a Civitan fundraiser in general. More so geared towards tackle football.
from our point of view, I don't think we care either way. I think it'd be great if you did open it to the public. We hadn't had a movie in the park night all year, so that's my thought on it.
Okay.
Any thoughts?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion? We have a second. Mr. Head, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Collier, Music City invitation. Going once?
I'll follow up with him after this, but I do know that him and David Gilliam have been talking about this one specifically. So I'll make sure he's on the next one.
We under a time crunch with that?
No, it was mainly they were just trying to decide if they were trying to do too many tournaments at the same time. They were already working on one. He already has the Wish Cup that's coming back.
Right.
This was an additional tournament he was bringing. So, but they are familiar with it. They've decided Keith, they've already decided on a weekend, right?
That's what they were trying to work out, depending on the Make-A-Wish tournament. They were looking at possibly doing 2 different weekends, and then this was an additional one, so they were trying to work that out among the hockey league schedule and tournament schedule. So that was something that David Gillum, the president of the hockey league, was working out with Colby.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and push this one. All right. Hendersonville, CX, Lee Yarbrough.
So my name's Lee Yarbrough.
Go ahead and push the button. Excellent. Now you're
I'm on now. So my name is Lee Yarbrough, and I am going to be hosting a cyclocross race, hopefully, this fall, October 28th through the 30th at, I think we call it Heritage Park now. Last year we had 130 racers. We partnered with Hike the Hill, which I think is no longer for this year. But wanted to bring it back, and this year instead of just doing one day, we want to do two with the option of a course preview and sort of a preview kind of party on Friday night, just where everybody can hang out, ride with the lights, do that sort of thing. Last year we had 25 kids, all of which got the race free. They were on anything from an actual racing bike to a Walmart bike, which was great for me to see. Yeah, so my ask this year would be that we can host again, as well as for any mowing that we might need prior to the race.
Have any staff issues?
What's your plan for restrooms?
I will rent porta potties again, just like we did last year. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question about this because we just approved, what is it? Box lacrosse, but with no alcohol. So if it's a youth event,
Sure.
that, for me, that's a problem if we're gonna do for one. Two.
How does that affect your request?
It's not ideal, I'll be honest. Last year, Half Batch Brewery was one of our sponsors. Nate was on site. We had a set up beer garden type area where most of the alcohol was kept inside the roped off section. This is not a bicycle race. It's very different than your normal stick and ball sport where there will be parents or fans cheering or getting involved in anything like that. So any of those concerns don't really apply in our case. Happy to answer any questions about it though.
So, I mean, if I may, last year their event was part of a bigger festival type event, I think
Correct.
you would call it. Whereas this, you're asking to be a standalone event.
Sure.
Just the race that includes.
Actually, this year
remind me
too,
the ages again.
this is, I mean, I guess the youngest kid I had last year was 5,
Right.
all through any age. We have age breakdowns for 9 to 14,
And
for 15 to 18.
the other thing, I think I heard you say there was something about a Friday night party.
Preview party. Yeah, just kind of a hangout.
And where would that be?
Same place. Yeah. Yeah. Just the course, I'd have it set up by Friday night, and then people could ride the course with lights on.
And what all would be going on there on Friday night?
I'm not entirely sure just yet. I'm still putting it together with the rest of my promoting partners here. This is actually going to be part of 2 different series. We will be part of the Tennessee Bicycle Racing Association series, which I'm the president of, and a smaller series within that series. We're nesting them here for an event that happens in Springfield, and then another race that will happen in Cookeville, Tennessee. So the intention is for the race to grow from this year onward.
So last year, it was an event, sort of nested within another event, and alcohol was available.
Yeah, Hike the Hill, which was explicitly for families.
Now it's separate, and we've got to figure out what to do. Okay. So the alcohol, the beer being served is not just at the pre-event, but it's also at the event itself.
For the pre-event, it will not be. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'll be Saturday and Sunday only.
Is there any way to have the youth ride the hill before the adults?
No.
You see our quandary right now.
I do. I don't necessarily understand it, but I do see it.
So
Nate will probably be involved again this year, unless this is in the way of that. We had the race without incident last year, and we had police officers on site for anything like that. That was part of our permit process. I know last time. I'd be looking to do that again this time.
Please.
Yeah.
I just want to mention something because I just had this thought. So one thing to remind yourself is when these events go through the process to have the beer permit, they have to have HPD on site. So you're going to have law enforcement there. Where if he has that event and he doesn't have alcohol, he doesn't have to have HPD there, and he won't, because he probably won't spend the money for it. So I think that's something to remember. Anytime there's going to be alcohol at these events, they're going to be governed to have police there. So I would just remember that as you're like working through these maybe.
I get what you're saying, but we're eventually going to have to sit down and come up with some sort of precedence on the alcohol at these events. So if the youth are there, I mean, we just 10 minutes ago told the gentleman he could do this deal without alcohol, and I get it. I'm just playing the devil's advocate there. We just got to get a set of precedents one day.
So
What
do
we're
we
going to do.
reverse our decision on the previous one to allow this one? Knowing that police will be there?
I don't have a vote, but
Well,
I would tell you that to me personally, this is just my personal opinion. I view an event like this differently than a competitive youth sports tournament where tempers flare and people are competing. That's just my personal opinion, which I don't have a vote. So I understand what you're saying is we just said this and now we're saying that. But, you know, there's things like this that go on with. Sometimes there's people that have games set up at the Freedom Festival, or there's things that go on at Sumner Fest, or that kids are involved in. But those are very often not highly competitive sporting events.
Have we?
I don't necessarily think that there's a right or a wrong, honestly.
Have we seen any incidents since we have been allowing folks to sell alcohol at our events?
I wasn't at this meeting because I was on vacation, but I'll let Dallas answer that question.
No, we actually had a meeting with a couple of our commanders, just Wade and I did just about 2 weeks ago, and one thing they mentioned is since we approved alcohol at events, they've had zero cases of any situations, no DUIs. I think the only thing they brought up is that there was a couple that tried to sneak some beer out of to the cars after an event in their pockets, and they caught them. So that's the only case that they know of that was reported to us in that meeting a couple of weeks ago.
So
I think another thing that you have at your disposal is that he will have to come back here to present a site map, because that's not in this packet. You got to have one when you go to the beer board. So and Nate doesn't like this. I don't mean to use his name, but if you have the right to approve whatever beer garden setup there is that might not allow youth to go into.
And that was sort of the method last time as well.
You know, let's be real here for a minute. If you don't think there's a tournament that's going on in these parks, that there ain't alcohol in the parking lot, in the cooler, or better yet, in somebody's Yeti sitting beside them in a Field 7, you hadn't come to the park in a long time. I mean, you know, because if they want alcohol, they're going to find a way to get it. And it's much better to have it hopefully permitted in a closed area than allowing people to go back and forth to their cars and bring it back all the way. It's like I said, a slippery slope. But what I'm saying, I've seen constantly.
I will, ditto what Mr. Head said down there. I know for a fact that's what happens at inline tournaments, baseball, even little Titans football games. So maybe we discuss letting, reversing our vote on box lacrosse and letting them come back with the site plan and knowing that HPD will be there and see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, let's address this one first before
Right.
we talk about going back.
I do think, though, that we're operating without any, we're we're sort of making this up as we go, which I understand there's going to be some aspect of that that's inherent, but it seems that it would be worthwhile to have some indication or some whether that's the Parks Department coming up with a policy, whether that's a policy that we are requesting from the city as a whole, to say, what does the city want to see in terms of alcohol in the parks? I know that you would say maybe that comes back to this board. Maybe there's a set piece that we look at and say, yes, that is the rule.
That's been voted on by BOMA. I mean, that's been voted on already by the Parks Board and BOMA.
My personal thought and feeling on this is basically the box lacrosse. They were having an 18 and under event specifically, and they wanted to sell alcohol at that event, in addition to the older ones as well. So two separate events, even though it's the same thing, two separate events. This seems to me that this is a one event, one day. Everybody's together. Everybody's going off at the same time. Am I correct?
No,
No.
it would be in different waves.
Multiple days. Okay, so you're going to have youth in one day, and you're wanting to sell alcohol while the youth are out there doing the same thing.
Not specifically that day. It was
Okay.
in waves is what I meant. So
Okay.
you'll have adults start at one time, one section of adults. There's different categories, and then a juniors race, which is what we call kids, and then a women's race, then another adult race, then a pro race. That's the sort of setup as normal.
Gotcha.
So that would be both days exactly the same.
So you'd have it staggered. It'd be youth, adult, youth, adult, youth, adult on
Right.
there. Okay.
Right.
So,
Mr. Head?
So Andy, again, you said that this has been voted on. So what does that policy say about alcohol at youth events?
It doesn't specifically address youth events. It addresses alcohol in the park and how it is made to be legal. I mean, it just doesn't specifically call out a youth tournament event.
well, this can't get approved tonight anyway because there's not a site plan. So make a motion that we table this to the September meeting and he come back for approval with a site plan for his alcohol permit. And it just can't, I mean, I wouldn't approve it without a site plan.
Okay, we've got a motion. We have a second.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second.
Can I interject though? If at all possible, you can shoot down my beer permit later on, but as far as like usage permits, I do need to know sooner rather than later. So
Yeah, I just want to say, because I'm dealing with a lot of these people, and this has happened tonight already. So I'm just telling you from my job perspective. I think there should be multiple steps that we're not thinking about completely here. Approve the event, and if they want to have the additional things, they have to do the work by getting the permits and getting the stuff ready to present to us the next time around. Because regardless, they can still have their event and then add that if they want it and want to actually go through all the process.
All right. So I'll amend my motion to approve the event. At this point, if they want alcohol to be served, that they need to come back in the September meeting with a site plan to approve that.
My second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
thanks. Also, if I could, as president of the Tennessee Bicycle Racing Association, we are the wing of USA Cycling here in Tennessee. We are ordained to handle any of that. Part of my mandate is to make sure that the sport grows and there are more kids racing than ever before. The pump track that's coming along, I know that you guys already approved it, so I'm kind of just talking here, but that is hugely important for the future of cycling in the state. Lots of pro careers and even some of the people that you would see on TV at the tour started farting around on a pump track. So if at all possible, give them a little leeway if they have to. But thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. Ms. Rather. All right. Bass Federation Youth Fishing Tournament. Jeff Stafford. Going once. Going twice. All right. So we're going to push the fishing tournament. Come back if they like. Special event application update. Park staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think in your packet you have a version of the athletic handbook that has some highlights in it. Maybe Wade can explain it a little better.
So you have two versions. The first version is the one that we've been using up to now. What is highlighted is what I've changed or what we've changed from conversations and meetings we've had. So the second application actually has all the changes in it. So just for you
That are highlighted.
for you to be able to reference.
Okay. Okay. Well done. It's good. Thank you. Special events list is in our.
We
Yes,
need
sir.
you all to make a motion to recommend to BOMA they adopt these changes, please.
Thank you. I apologize. I thought you were giving us a list of what we had already.
Nope, we're
already
not allowed to
approved.
do that.
All right. So.
Because some of them are directly under your purview because they increase some fees.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a motion. We have a second. Got a second, Mr. Perry. Any other questions? You guys had a opportunity to look it through? All right. No comments. So all those in favor? Any opposed? It passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the special events list is in our packet. Blue Cross grant. Mr. Gill, is that something,
That is for your all's information purposes. I think I talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yep.
We're applying for a Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthy Place grant. Board of Mayor and Aldermen signed up on that to turf the remaining field that exists at Volunteer Park, to add an inclusive playground there, and to finish the walking path around that field. Much needed things. Whether we can do them now or get this grant or do them in the future, I hope we can figure out a way to make those happen.
all right.
That was for your information. We'll find out in February.
Recreation Coordinator, Ms. Hamlin.
Thank you. Preschool track meet is scheduled for October 16th. Registration opened up on August 17th and runs through September 30th. They must be pre-registered in order to get a shirt. This is for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, and their age is determined as of October 30th of 2022. It is a one-day event. 3-year-olds will go at one time, 4-year-olds at another time, and 5-year-olds at another time. And they all will do a 25-yard dash, mini hurdles, and tennis ball throw. Ribbons are given out at the end of each heat, and the cost is $20. Then we have Trick or Treat at Drakes Creek that follows on Thursday, October 27th. I'm sure Wade will share more about that. Breakfast with Santa is going to be scheduled for Saturday, December 10th, and it is co-sponsored by Hendersonville Civitan and the Parks Department. Again, we have 3 different sessions for that. We'll have a session 1, session 2, and session 3. Hopefully that's going to be at Winton Elementary. I've requested the use of that facility and waiting to hear back from them. Registration dates will be November 1st through December 7th. And then we have Raptors Basketball. Registration will begin on November 28th and run through January 3rd. Cost is $35 per participant. We are already booked to do an exhibition game on January 17th at Station Camp High School. So anybody wants us to come, start booking us. I'm the booking agent here. But they enjoy going to the different schools and performing and having them cheer them on. So that's what we got coming up.
Great.
Any
Thank
questions?
Fantastic. Thank you. Recreation Coordinator, Mr. Fugit. Did I pronounce that correctly? Close.
Fugate.
Fugate.
But close enough.
Thank you. Won't mess it up next
Mobile
time.
baseball has started. Adult kickball has also started. And then high school and adult basketball registration opens up on September 5th and closes on September 30th. We're taking 16 teams for high school. I'm sorry, y'all. And then 18 teams for the adult league. And for high school, it's 9th through 12th grade.
Great. Thank you. Special Events Supervisor, Mr. Evans.
What's going on? Hope everybody had a good time at Bubba's Bash on Wednesday. My team beat Jimmy Head's team, so. Not a lot of time I've ever beaten Jimmy. Ever when he was a coach and I played against him growing up, he beat me every time. So no, it was great. I think we raised like $6,000 as what we were talking about when we crunching the numbers. So that's awesome. They'll be making that donation within the week. We did Putting for a Purpose on Friday. Myself and Chandler, our summer intern, we were at Bluegrass, raised $300 for Mary's Magical Place. So thanks to Bluegrass for letting us have that. That was actually Alderman Roberson, his idea to have it over there. So that was, again, very successful. Some events coming up, just so everybody's aware out there, but also for you as well. Heroes Day, it's the Spencer Bristol softball tournament. They've changed the name a little bit because there's a lot more going on, whether it be it's donut eating contests and cornhole and the softball tournament. That's September 10th. That is also the same weekend as the Highland Games, the Scottish Highland Games, which will be at Saunders Ferry Park. If you're not familiar with it, I would look it up. It was a massive event for Nashville for a long, long time. So for them to be here and with us, that's really cool. And then before our next meeting, we would have had the half marathon as well on September 17th. So some of the bigger events, besides all of our youth sports, everything like that. So good reason to get outside.
Excellent. Thank you. Parks Maintenance Superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. Maintenance is on the move. I think I looked right before I came down here. I think the guys had completed like 42 work orders in the last 5 days, just to put in perspective work orders. We, as you can listen to Wade talk about all the events, that all directly affects what we do and keeps us busy too. We will be working on a couple of different things. We've got the half marathon coming through the park this year, which is a little different than before. So we've been doing some general maintenance on the greenways, open them up a little bit, a lot of trimming and tree limbs and things like that to be in preparation for that, because that is going to be a little different route than what it's been before. So pretty much same old, staying busy. The guys are doing a good job. Thank you.
They are, for a fact. Thank you. Assistant Director, Mr. Long.
Thank you. Tennessee United and middle school soccer have begun games. They've been going for about 2 weeks now. Rec soccer started practice last week, and then their first weekend of games will be Labor Day weekend. Rec soccer is also working on starting up the adult league, which should start up sometime mid-September. Tackle football has been ongoing. They got their first game this Thursday, and we're just waiting to receive the rest of the season schedule. Flag football has registration ongoing, and they'll start mid-September. And then rugby has been practicing for the past couple of weeks, and their first weekend of games will be a tournament the weekend of Labor Day.
Great. Thank you. Assistant Director, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have Fast Pitch League has started practicing and going to go for a couple more weeks, and then their first game is the Tuesday after Labor Day. Hockey just finished up evaluations, and they will start practicing very soon. I think the first game is going to be September 10th, I believe. The senior men, their year-long season. The Bubba gets to play every Tuesday night. They're still going on. They've got another month or so. The Civitan Open League, which is new this fall, they were supposed to start Saturday and got rained out, so they're going to start Wednesday night with the Open League on that end of it. Full Count Baseball, their fall league, this tonight. Actually, they're playing tonight and tomorrow. This is week 2 for them. A great program that they're running. Goes to about 6 or 7 weeks. And then the other issue about basketball, we're working on signups. Ori talked about the adult leagues, and then Civitan is working on getting the information and set up for the grades 1 through 8, and they'll be announcing that very soon about sign-up information, rating sessions, and so forth.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Parks Director, Mr. Gilly.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Heston's not here, but he will be proud to know that there were no discipline reports in the packet.
Glad to hear that.
Now, we didn't have a lot of games going on, but hopefully that's a trend that will continue. Doug definitely want to echo what Wade said and thank Alderman Robertson and Bluegrass Country Club, but specifically him and Chandler for working the event for Mary's Place. We'll go and do one at Country Hills like we have been also, so that was good. We do have the Barbecue Festival, October 21st and 22nd. Registrations are open at pigfesttn.com. You can register your barbecue team. You can buy tickets to the Kentucky Headhunters concert. You can sign up as a vendor. You can sign up as a sponsor. We take all the things. Also, you can sign up to paint the parking pallet spots at Mary's Place that weekend. So hopefully that will be a great fundraiser for not only Mary's Maintenance Fund, but Live Love Nashville and Christmas for Kids. We've got some great things lined up for that. I want to thank our staff for a great month of August in the office and at maintenance. They have done a phenomenal job in the hottest part of the year. And then getting everything ready for what is about to be probably one of the busiest falls we've ever seen. We are about to start hiring gym supervisors, so we'll see recruiting for that going on. If you would like to help us by working in the basketball and leagues in the wintertime, you're welcome to apply and be a gym supervisor, where you can enjoy all the fun and get a first-hand look at how the discipline reports come about to begin with. That is all I have, sir. Thank you very much.
Sure. I've got a question for you. So what goes into becoming a pet-friendly community?
Funny you should ask. There is about a 30-page application that we fill out that has questions about services that our city provides. It was good timing with Big Bubba's Bash benefiting the Humane Society because part of the things I will have to answer, I'll have to go to them to ask. There are way more pet services in our city than people would ever realize when it comes to grooming, dog sitting, training, all kinds of things. One of the questions was, is your mayor a pet owner? Which I'll have to ask him myself that. But once you're designated by Mars Inc., which also is a major producer of pet food, whether you knew that or not, then they will help you identify areas where your community could be stronger. They will talk to you about things like signage, programs, grants, things that they might do. It's you also then have the ability to be identified as a pet-friendly airport destination. Whereas your city is pet friendly and maybe people that are flying into Nashville look that up and maybe this is the area they choose to stay for their stay because of that. So it's a lot of interesting things that go with it. I'll send you all the link so you can spend a lot of time reading it.
All right, so we'll go with our round table. Ms. Rathert?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Bennett?
I'd like to congratulate Full Count Rhythm for winning their league, and big accomplishment to them. Congratulations to Coach Carmen and the Full Count crew.
Mr. Golden?
I just wanted to congratulate Tennessee United. Tennessee United had their very first ever national champion soccer team.
Wow.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Mr. Perry?
I'm just going to thank everybody up here, the board, Parks. You guys knocked it out again. People come and play in my game because of what you guys do and what we have up here. Thank you all. Mr. Head, thanks for what you did. Appreciate you guys.
Mr. Perry, thank you too.
We'll do it again.
Congratulations, Wade.
Wasn't there a walk-off?
Hey, Mr. Brown, I think I jumped you. All right. The only thing that I've got is I was skeptical about this pickleball thing, and I guess not anymore. I saw something on maybe Channel 4, citywide. You got Mr. Evans. Anything you want to add there?
I dealt with this when I was at Vanderbilt. That was the first I'd ever heard of it because we have a racket center. I say we because I worked there, but there was a racket center on campus, and growing amount of faculty and staff wanted to use it for that. I think I obviously, and I come from a fitness background, exercise science background. The sport what it can do for certain age groups, I think needs to be available and readily available. However, I want to make sure that the public knows too, it can't just happen on our tennis courts. I think that people don't realize that if we were to put lines on our current tennis courts, it would take away from youth tennis leagues and youth tennis tournaments. And so it should be a no-brainer. Like that needs to stop being the narrative, and that it shouldn't even be a thought. Like it would be taking away from the youth. So the people up here, they're looking at the places, they're trying to figure, like there is those conversations. I'm not in those meetings, but I hear about those. But I think that's the biggest thing. So if you have any friends, family members are asking you specifically about why is there no pickleball, and why can't it happen over there, I hope that you reiterate that there's a reason why. It's not just because we don't want to do it there. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. Our meeting is, our items are complete. We've got a motion to adjourn? Second, Mr. Ed? All those in favor?